Welcome to another episode of the Grateful Gem Podcast. I'm the host, Jasmine Chanel, and today we are talking about the comparison game. Stick around because gems are definitely about to be dropped, so get ready. Before I get into this episode, I need everyone listening to this podcast to follow the podcast on Instagram at The Grateful Gem Pod, and also follow your girl at Jasmine Chanel. Don't worry, I'll spell it out for you and put it in the episode notes. Okay, let's get started. Welcome back, Gems. We are 5 episodes in. Woot woot. 5. Yes, 5. So today we're going to be talking about the comparison game. It's not fair. And I know that it's so hard to not compare yourself to other people, not to be able to look at what they're doing or how God is blessing them or what they have versus what you don't have, especially in the society that we live in today, because we have social media, we have so many businesses. A lot of people are trying to be entrepreneurs and they're trying to get their business off the ground, and they're comparing their business to everybody else, and they want to do things the way that they're doing things. And we have to be reminded that in this world we have to also be set apart. We can't do things that other people do, and we can't do them the way that other people do them as well. So I am going to go over 3 things that I think will help anyone that is stuck in the comparison game. It's not fair mode. So the first thing that I have is the I don't like me syndrome. So basically what that is self-explanatory. I don't like me. You don't like, it's not saying that you really don't like yourself, but you don't like what you're going through, how your life is turning out, what you're doing. Everything that you're doing is failing. Every time you try to get ahead, you're getting stepped back. Every time the person next to you, they're doing something, they move 10 steps up. You try to do that, you go 10 steps back. And that's where the comparison game really begins, at that I don't like me syndrome. It can be anything from trying to get your finances together, trying to get a new job, trying to get a car, trying to move, trying to save. It could be anything. It could really just be anything small. It could be relationships, friends, family. You can, if you're not at a point where you can realize what you're going through and just accept that and learn how to move forward with it, if you can't accept it and work through that, it'll be really easy to get caught up in the comparison game. So it's really hard for people that really don't accept it or can't acknowledge that they're in comparison mode to get out of comparison mode. So I would say that the first thing in the I don't like me syndrome for you to do is to acknowledge where you're at. So if you find yourself getting upset about social media posts, or getting upset about something that your friend is doing, or something that your family is doing, or something that anyone is doing, let's just talk in general. It doesn't have to be a specific person. It could be a thing. It could be something so small, literally. Because when you're in the I don't like me stage, everything gets you upset. And you compare yourself to anything. So you have to be able to recognize that and say, okay, let me calm down. Let me just look at where I was and where I am. But a lot of times we don't do that. We just go full force into how we feel, and we get upset. We compare ourselves to the next person, when really we have to stay focused on where we're going. We have to be able to know what's going on in our life, because it's not always what it looks like. And that's the sad thing about social media platforms now, because you can look at a picture and think that everything is all peaches and cream, but for someone that knows that person personally, they may know that their world is coming apart. So you can't really sit here and get mad at someone else for where they're at, when you really honestly may 100% not know the whole truth. So that's another thing. You have to remember that looks are deceiving, literally, because we look at things and like, oh, that just looks so nice, or that just looks so fun. I wish I could do this, or I wish I had that courage, or whatever it is. You just have to be reminded that everything isn't what it seems. And sometimes it is what it seems. So either way, you have to just be able to say, I'm happy for that person. That person is moving forward in life. I know that I will one day move forward in life as well. And a lot of times when we're in the I don't like me syndrome, you're bitter. And not only are you bitter, but instead of being happy for people, you're criticizing them, or you're talking about them out of jealousy. So if you notice in the I don't like me syndrome, you're really miserable. You're miserable, you're bitter, you're upset. It's hard for you to congratulate people. And when you do, you don't really mean it. And that's not good. You have to be able to congratulate and clap for other people when they're moving forward, because if you don't, you're honestly blocking your own blessings. And that just may be another reason why you're not moving forward. So if you're always in a situation where everybody around you is doing better and you're never genuinely happy for them, and you never voice how happy you are, or you can't support them in moving forward, you might want to just change your mindset with that, because you don't want to have a grudge towards them because they're doing better than you, or because they made a small accomplishment that you couldn't have done. And a lot of times it wasn't in your life plan for you to do those things. We look at other people's lives and we compare our lives to it, but we have to remember that we're two different people. God's plan for us is not for them, or God's plan for them is not for us. We have to remember to walk on the lane that God has placed in front of us and stay focused and get to the end point for our life. And in the I don't like me syndrome, you have to really this is about being accountable, being able to recognize where you're at, what's going on, and just honestly be able to recognize how you feel. You have to be able to understand those things in order for you to get out of this syndrome. You can't just be like, okay, well, I'm just not having the best luck. I've been having bad luck for 10 years and I'm just going to stay that way. And da-da-da-da, Sharon, she went over here, prayed for this job, and she got it the next day. I prayed for a job. In 2 weeks, I wasn't able to get it. And we have to be able to walk forward and just have faith that God has a bigger plan for us. And a lot of times, you may be that person that's always down, but then when you get up, the other person is upset. And you may not even know it, because they may just not be able to show it differently, because they may genuinely be happy for you, but it took them a really long time to get that blessing that they got. But you're on the outside looking in thinking that, oh, they did this in one day and now they're here. And that's just like with celebrities. They practice and work hard and it pays off over time. It's not things that happen overnight in 2 days and 2 hours. So you have to be able to recognize where you're at in the I don't like me syndrome part, because you have to be able to have self-confidence, self-love, love yourself, like yourself, and be able to acknowledge where you're at and where you're going. Because without these things, you won't be able to turn your I don't like me into I love me. So really take heed to what I'm saying. Write these things down. Look over it. Do some self-reflecting. And get out of the I don't like me syndrome. And get into the I love me syndrome. Okay? Okay. So, the second thing I have is being magnetically stuck. What I mean by this is, typically when you're comparing yourself, you're stuck to this person or something like a magnet, and you cling to it. So you alter your thoughts, you alter your personal goals, your purpose. You change everything about you because you're trying to live your life through someone else's glasses, through their own tent. You're trying to drive their car down their lane when you should be driving your own car in your lane. And I've talked about this a million times, but I know that sometimes it happens and we don't really realize it. So that's why that first step was very important. Being able to say, I don't like me, and turn it into I love me. So being magnetically stuck is really, really important, because you're clinging to a family member, a friend, a celebrity, a job, whatever you're doing. You're trying to do things that are not in God's plan for you, and really never really started to be in your plan, but because your friend did it, or your cousin did it, or your mama did it, this is how you're going to do it. And you have to be willing to be set apart and say that, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm happy for this person because they're getting ahead in life. I'm happy where they're going, but I'm going to stay on my lane, drive my car, and pump the brakes when I need to, take some time, and come back and press the gas when I need to go. You have to be able to know that you can't stick to someone else's life and put your name on their plans, because God didn't create us equal when it comes to that. He created us individually perfect, and in his eyes, rather. So don't walk around here talking about Jasmine told me I was individually perfect. No, you're individually perfect in God's eyes. You're not perfect in reality. The only perfect person is him. So let me just go ahead and put that disclaimer on there, because I don't need nobody coming for me talking about, yes, Grateful Gym bossed up and I am perfect. No, you're not. Because if that was the case, he would not have seen Jesus to die for our sins. But that is another episode. let's continue. So, yes, you have to be able to do things differently, know where you're going, and also really know what you want. So, if you are living out your life goals and trying to make things happen, and say, okay, you have a friend that is an entrepreneur and you want to be an entrepreneur, and this person is doing better than you, your business is like going slow, you're not really having any business, and their business is really picking up. So you try to alter your business plan to their business plan. You're doing the same things they're doing. You're saying the same things they're doing. You're trying to do the same things they're doing, and it's still not working. Why? Because that's not God's plan for you. That's not even your business plan for you. You literally changed everything that you were doing because you thought it was failing, because you see success on the other side. And that just goes back to what I said in the first point. Pictures and the way things look on the outside is not really how it is on the inside. And you have to know that. Every picture, there is a moment before it and after it. So you have to know that they're only capturing that moment, and be reminded that, okay, and even if it's not, even if it's all peaches and cream, I'm happy for you regardless. I am going to help you, I'm going to uplift you, and I'm going to also do as much as I can. And that's another thing. When you're in a place where you're not able to genuinely be happy for somebody, or genuinely help them because you're jealous, or you're comparing yourself and you're bitter and you're down, you have to know when to step back. Don't go full into helping somebody. Even if you want to, you cannot, because you're going to tear yourself apart. You're going to sit here and tear yourself apart because you're going to be sitting there the whole time helping them and trying to help yourself too, with getting information on, okay, well, this is how she did it, so I'm going to do it like this. And I saw such and such make this like that, and that's how I want to do it. I'm going to make my social media like this because that's how I see her social media. And no, like, you need to take a step back and just look at it from a long path. Look at the journey where you're at, turn around and look where you've been, and then turn around and go back where you're going. Get out of their lane and get back in yours, because you cannot get somebody else's blessing. That's just not going to happen. And I put a quote on my Instagram. Also, if you're not following the Grateful Gem Pod on Instagram, you need to be, because I upload quotes and words all the time and clips of the episodes, just to keep you guys in the know. But the other day I put up an episode that says you can't get your blessings driving in someone else's lane. And that is true. How is God going to bless you and you in somebody else's lane trying to live their life? If that was possible, God would not have created us separately. He would have combined us. He would have made us two. He would have twinned us, literally. And even for twins, like, they have different purposes. Their life goals and God plans for them is not the same. So we have to be able to realize these things, because we have to unattach the magnet that we have placed on whatever it is that's changing us and causing us to be in comparison. You can't look at somebody on the outside and say, okay, well, they're doing this, let me do that. Or, I know I shouldn't do this, but she did it, so let me try it. Oh, she got that job in a week, let me go ahead and apply. Let me try to reach out to these people. Let me do this, let me do that. And then it doesn't work out, and then you're upset. You have to know that at the end of the day, that person may have been going through years of not being able to find a job. Or that person may have been through years of trying to get that business off the ground, and it just fell down, down, down. Or they've been trying to work on their marriage, or even a dating relationship for years, and it was just terrible. And now it's at a point where it's slowly, and I say slowly with quotation marks, because just because you think like, oh, you had 5 years, or you heard about one time they got into an argument, but you didn't hear about the other 100. And now you're like, oh, your marriage is doing so good. And the other, 9 times out of 10, this is another thing. Body language is really important. When you're talking to somebody, you need to watch how they're responding and how they're sitting and how they're acting, because it tells you right then and there. If I'm coming to you, I'm like, girl, you guys are just so perfect, and I saw your pictures on Instagram and I just loved it, and I'm just so excited, and I just can't wait. And then they're looking at you like, girl, you do not know. We just got into it in the car on the way over here. He in the car right now. Like, you seriously. And it's funny because you would think it's common sense, but we really don't think about those things. We really just go full speed ahead and just go off the deep end without gathering and reeling ourselves back in and saying, okay, my friend got this, I'm happy for her. My family did this, I'm happy for them. Or this coworker got that, I'm happy for them. At the end of the day, you have to be willing to be genuinely happy. Don't just say you're happy, because that ain't gonna get you nowhere. Be genuine happy. And if you're in a place where you find yourself comparing, like, God, I wish I did that, or I wish I had that, or I needed that, why didn't I get this? You need to then walk forward and stop. And I know that may sound crazy, but you need to. There's no sense of being able to continue going through comparison when you've acknowledged it. I can see if you're walking forward and you don't know. But if you're walking full speed ahead and you know you're comparing yourself, again, as I told you in the I don't like me syndrome, the symptoms are bitterness, jealousy, and ungenuinely. You're not happy for them. You're just saying that because you want to give it to God and you wish it were you. Or you just saying that because you feel like that's the right thing to do. No, you need to stop. And this is my third point. Stop. So in the stop process, you need to be grateful. Be grateful for where you are, because just because it feels like you're not being blessed doesn't mean you aren't. It could be the smallest thing to the biggest things. And sometimes we downplay a lot of things that God don't bless us with. We pray about things and we say, God, please fix this relationship. God, please fix my car. Lord, please give me this job. Please let me move out of town. Please bless my account. Bless my finances. But if God had blessed your finances, when you asked him for it, you would still be poor. You would be in poverty worse than when you were before, because you don't know how to steward money. But if God had given you that job that with the schedule that you liked, and it gave you the money that you liked, would you have been taking advantage and using your time wisely because you suck at time management? And would you have been able to move ahead and get your bills paid because you're a good steward of your money? No. And that's why sometimes God block our blessings, or I'm not going to say he block them. Let me rephrase that. God delays, not deny, but delays our blessings because we're not ready. And we're going to do more self-destruct if he give us those blessings right then and there. So he waits for us, and he waits for us to get ready. And once we prove that we're ready, because he don't want us struggling. And I hate when people say, oh, God created this is God's fault. No, it's not. It's our 90%, 100%. I ain't going to say 90, because it ain't got nothing to do with God. That's us. 90% of the things that we go through in life, when it comes to this topic, it's our own fault. Because one, we spend time in relationships where we don't belong. We spend time and money on things that we shouldn't be spending on, and we don't know how to steward our money. Yeah, your family may not know how to be financially set, but you have to learn how to step out of that. Forget about, oh, I wasn't raised that way. I hate when people say this. I wasn't raised this way, or I wasn't taught that. There is too many resources. There are too many people. There are too many things in this world right now, in this very day, going on that you can't grab on to find a better way. So don't say that that's how you were raised. Or my mom was bad with money. She had a shopping problem. So girl, I inherited the shopping problem. No, you did not. You took that because that's what you wanted. And recently, actually, I have a problem that when I'm stressed, I shop. Even if I don't got money, I'm shopping. And it may just be $1 or $2, whatever. First of all, I shouldn't be shopping anyway because I'm budgeting. And like I said, I haven't done this in a while, but this is something that I noticed. When I'm really stressed, I shop. I stress shop. And then, like now, it's crazy. I just thought about it because I have a lot of stuff that I bought at a semi-annual sale at Bath & Body Works and at Pink that I really don't need, because I have a big old basket of stuff from the last semi-annual stuff that I bought. And now I'm trying to get rid of it because I'm like, oh, I don't know why I bought all this stuff. And then when I think about it, I'm like, oh, I bought this because I was stressed, because at that time I had just moved back to Jacksonville. I hadn't got a full-time job that I wanted, that I thought I was going to get. I was not living by myself. I was staying with my best friend, grateful to be able to have been there with her, but I was just ready to go, and I like my independence. I'm not a person that loves to be dependent on other people. I like to be able to spread my wings and get things through myself. So I was really stressed. I was miserable every day. And I stress shop every day. I literally went and bought something every day. And it wasn't, like I said, like millions and hundreds of dollars. Because first of all, I don't have that. But $5 here, $5 there. And it maybe didn't add up to anything. But it's just the point. I'm shopping not because I'm like intentionally shopping. Like I went out and said, okay, I'm going to spend such and such. Now I budget for like my feminine products and my lotions, and I'm not buying any more Bath & Body Works or Pink stuff because I don't need any. I have a lot, and like I said, I'm trying to give all that stuff away. And it's crazy because when I went to the semi-annual, I bought stuff for my sister's birthday. I bought Christmas gifts for Christmas coming up, and that's how you know, like, girl, you is shopping for Christmas 2-3 months in the new year. Oh, pitiful. But I'm self-aware And I can say that I have a shopping stress problem, but I'm not going to sit here and rebuttal and say, oh, well, I saw such and such do that when I grew up, so that just railed over to me. No, that's not, because at the end of the day, what that person did does not have to affect me. And even when I notice it, I'll buy something and then I'm like, girl, you done spent your last $5 on such and such. You need to go take that back. And I'm telling you, I'm good for taking something back. Because once I snap back into reality and I realize like, oh, I bought this stress shopping because I really don't need it and I'm not using it, I will take it back to the store. Well, it's in the time frame and not give me credit because I can use it somewhere else. Christmas shopping, hello. Birthday's coming up, hello. I can use it somewhere else and it'll be beneficial. And it's like, I'm not myself when I'm stress shopping. I'm somebody else. I go to another place and I'm just like, spend. Grab it. Free for all. Get everything. And then when I get back to reality, I'm like, where did all this stuff come from? Why do I have all this stuff? And I look at it, I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'm backing it up and I'm literally taking it back to the store. So you have to be able to realize that no matter how you were raised or what you grew up around, you have to set the standards of yourself. Do not sit here and blame your parents. Don't blame your friends. Don't blame your environment. Blame yourself. You have to be self-aware. And you have to be able to say, enough is enough. And that was literally me this year. I am doing a budget every month. Of course, it doesn't go as planned always because I forgot to factor in a lot of things. And now I'm tithing 100%. I've been doing that since I started my full-time job back in March. So I've been tithing ever since. So the money that I thought I would have is not there because I didn't put my tithes on my budget list. So every day I'm back looking at numbers like, why is this not adding up? Why is this not adding up? And I forgot to factor in my tithes, but I still tithe. And that was another thing I battled with for a long time. Sometimes I would tithe and sometimes I'm like, child, I need this $112. Like, I need this $80, $90. Like, I need this. And now I'm like, whatever. I'm going to give it. I'm going to tithe. And God always provides. And I'm so thankful for that. But that's just my testimony. Like, literally, I struggle with being able to get ahead. I'm really good at saving when I can save. And I'm really good at noticing my spending habits now. But back then, you couldn't tell me nothing. And I'm always a person, I like to buy my stuff in bulks. And I use that as an excuse. I'm like, well, I like to buy my stuff in bulk. So this will just be for whenever. And it's like, no, ma'am. No, we're not doing that. Like, I could see if it was household products, but feminine products and jewelry and purses and all that. No, you don't need to buy that in bulk. Let's be serious here. So you have to be able to be aware and just stop being magnetically stuck to other people's lives and other people's habits, really, and get your own purpose back. Figure out what it is that you're supposed to be doing. Where are you supposed to be going? You have to stop and just be grateful for everything that God is bringing you through. And again, like I said earlier, the things that God didn't bring you through, because the things that you were praying for and praying about was the very thing that would have self-destruct you. And I'm speaking from experience because I know now that I didn't get a lot of things that I really thought I needed back then because I wasn't ready. And I didn't have this mindset of, I'm not ready. It was just, oh, God's just deteriorating me from my blessings. He blessing everybody else. He out there in the line handing out blessing and I must have missed it. No, it was because I wasn't ready. And there's still a lot of things that I know God has for me that I know that I'm not ready for. But I can accept that. And I'm like, God, just keep it. Keep it until you feel like I'm ready, when I can be a good steward over whatever you're giving me. And I am so thankful to even be at this point where I'm self-aware to know where my flaws are. And just say, okay, breathe in, breathe out. And just take it step by step and then pray about it. God, what are you telling me to do? How can I get better at this? What can I do? And that's another thing. In the stop process, you have to ask for guidance. You can ask your friends, you can ask your family, but I'm all about the God first life. So you need to go to God first. You need to pray about it. You need to ask him whatever it is that you're comparing yourself to or comparing yourself about. You need to go to God. You need to say, God, listen, I really need help in this area. I'm having a bad time of comparison. I'm looking at this person and I'm envying this person, or I'm looking at this business plan and I'm envying it because of that business plan, or I'm looking at this relationship and I'm not really liking it, so I'm trying to alter my relationship. And that's another thing too, getting off track for a second. In relationships, we do this a lot. We see people on the internet, we see people in movies. Like, it can literally be a movie, something isn't real, and you sitting there mad at the character. because their relationship in a movie is going better than your relationship in reality. And that's not cool. You have to be able to say, okay, girl, man, what is going on? Because you are sitting here screaming at TV about something that is not even real. This is script. They wrote this down. And you have to be able to say, okay, what's really going on? And I'm all about digging deeper. Because when anything happens, small or large, it happens for a reason. And you have to be able to say, okay, why am I feeling this way? What's going on? So you have to be able to look at that stuff. And again, just pray and ask for guidance. And also, in the stop process, you have to be focused. Be focused on what God placed in front of you. Do not be trying to put what God placed in front of you on your table and take people stuff off their table and put it on your table. Or get up from your table, grab your stuff, and go sit at their table. No, you need to sit at your table, do and handle what God has given you, and then once you progress, you will move. The car will flow. You will drive faster. But you have to be able to be a good steward. You can't ask God for a new job. You can't ask God for that relationship if you are not even knowing what's going on with you. You can't be like, oh God, I've been in 10 relationships and they all were long and it was just a waste of time. And now I'm just ready to find my husband because I'm just over it. I'm getting up there in age. All my family is coming to me asking me when I'm going to find a man. And I just don't even know what's wrong with me. Pause. That's the problem. You don't know what's wrong with you. And 9 times out of 10, it may not even just really all be you. It may just be that at the end of the day, God has something better for you. It may not be that you're a problem. It just may be that you need to take in what your problem is so that when God brings you that relationship, you can be a good steward over that relationship. You can say, okay, God, I know I have trust issues. I know that sometimes I get upset. I know that sometimes I don't communicate well, whatever your flaws are, but you're not going to be able to move forward in that relationship. And when I tell you that God will not send you a blessing because it was self-destruct, He could send you the soulmate of your life. But if you aren't ready, just because that's your soulmate doesn't mean that God is going to sit there and make that man wait or woman wait for you until you find yourself. So you need to find yourself before that person finds you. And that's what I mean by self-destruct. Just with a job. Don't be sitting here praying to God, tell me, please give me $25 an hour because I've been working 10,000 jobs all my life. I got customer service skills. I'm good at this. I can do this with my eyes closed. And you might can. But you always late to work. Story of my life. I'm working on that too, though. Again, y'all, I'm just being real. Yeah, it's hard for me. I'm not a morning person. It's hard for me to get up. Some days and weeks I do really good, but some days I'm up because I can't sleep, or I'm up on my machine trying to breathe, and it's hard for me to get up in the morning. And I can admit that because that's a flaw that I have. I need to better, not even time management. I just need to get up. But again, don't sit here and pray to God and say, hey, can you give me that $25 job working from 6 to 2, 6 to 3, and you can't even get up to bed on time to get to work. Or when you do get to work, you ain't really doing no work. Like, you think God is going to really bless you like that when you're not grateful? You can't even get to the $10 job you got now that started at 9 o'clock on time. And you think if He give you one at 6 o'clock paying $25, you going to do better? No, you're not going to do that. And don't sit here and be praying to God, talking about, please bless my circle. Bring me some friends that's loyal, that's going to love me to the day I die, that's going to ride or die for me. And you ain't none of that. You sit around and you talk about all your friends, you tell all their business. Or you sit around and you envy everybody that's in your circle. And that's sad because I know people like that. They have a lot of friends and they envy each and one of them. And they end up talking about them because they're jealous or because they can't get out of that comparison mode. They got the I don't like me syndrome. Don't be that person, y'all. And if you are that person, then that's cool too. And I'm not trying to beat you down. I'm not trying to talk about you because we're not perfect. But be self-aware. That is the main key in each and everything in our life. Be self-aware. And just remember to count your blessings. Thank God for the things that He didn't do. And thank God for the things that He is going to do. And just be ready. And don't just think that because one day you did something good, you're like, oh God, I'm ready. No, you're not. You're not ready. And trust me, God will test you. And when you pass the test, He will know that you're serious. He will know that you're ready to reap the benefits of what He's got for you. And that is a blessing. So don't take anything lightly. And I hope that these points were helpful. Again, we're talking about the comparison game. It's not fair. Technically, it is fair. But I named it that because I know a lot of times that's the first thing we say. It's like, it's not fair. I'm trying to do this and it's not working out. It's not fair. She got that car and I wanted it. I applied. I didn't get approved. Or they got that job and they didn't get it. And they got that apartment. I didn't get it. It's not fair. It's not fair. That's our favorite word. So I'm here to tell you it is fair. God is a fair God, and He will not put more on us than we can bear. And we have to be good stewards over the things that we have. We have to use what we have and stop looking for more. When God gives you one thing, you need to take that one thing and turn it into 20. When He gives you two things, you need to take that and turn it into 40. You need to stretch it as much as you can. But be realistic. Don't be sitting here doing things that you know aren't meant to be done with the things that you have. Take pride in what you have now so that when God gives you more, you can be a good steward over it. So the first thing is the I don't like me syndrome. Please get out of that. Everything I do is not failing, but it is succeeding. And that is going to get you into the I love me syndrome. So I really pray that you get out of that syndrome if you're in it, and that you listen to what I'm saying, you take notes, and you also just do some research, and also just take yourself more serious, because your mental health and your emotional health is really important. You have to take care of yourself. And the second thing is being magnetically stuck. So stop sticking to people like magnets and cloning yourself to their life when you need to be walking in the path that God called you to. Stop doing things that other people are doing because you think it's going to benefit you. No, you need to pray. You need to ask God what it is that you need to do. Because in a world that looks alike, you need to be the one that is set apart. I do things all the time that people do not agree with. But guess what? I do it because I know that God has told me these things. God has shown me. And I'm being a great listener. And I'm just being obedient to what He said. And it's crazy because we have to have crazy faith. And when it comes to God, nothing that He does is ordinary. Nothing is like, oh, that makes sense. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy to people that don't understand. Even to people that do understand. It's going to be crazy because they can't see it. But when you're set and you're self-aware and you're in that I love me syndrome, you're going to know, okay, boom, God is telling me to do this. So this is what I'm going to do. And if you need confirmation, don't be afraid to seek God and say, okay, God, I can't really discern if that's you or if that's me. Please send me a sign, send me a signal, let me know, and this is what you want me to do, and I'll move forward. Don't worry about what other people think. Walk in your lane, walk oddly. I'm in this world, I'm telling you, I am a big weirdo. I do a lot of stuff that people do not agree with, and I don't mind that. I've always been weird. I'm the awkward person in the group. I don't do certain things because I don't like being normal. I like being weird. And people tell me, I can't tell you how many dudes I've talked to in the past, and they're like, you just so weird. But it's like weird in a good way because you don't care what nobody think. And I'm like, okay. I don't really know what that means, but hey, I'm weird. And now I'm just like, I said all the time, like, girl, I'm weird. And I remember, like, when I was getting to move, I was having a conversation with my friend about something. And she was just like, well, you need to do this. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that because God's not telling me to do that. She was like, that's crazy. I'm like, girl, it is crazy faith. Hey. But seriously, you have to be serious about that. And the third thing is stop. So once you get out of that I don't like me syndrome, before you get out of that I don't like me syndrome, once you recognize you're in that syndrome, you need to be unmagnetically stuck from your comparison, and you need to stop. Because there's nothing good going to come out of you continue to compare yourself to everybody else. Because nobody's life is peaches and cream, no matter how good it's going. There's always something that's going to deteriorate you from where you're going, especially when you have God involved. Remember that. And don't keep looking at people on the outside looking in, because you don't know how much they worked. You don't know how much they prayed. Don't sit here and pray for something that it took this person 20 years to get, and you're trying to get it in 1 year. And that goes back to the quote I mentioned when I was on Instagram, where a lot of people are saying that we live in a microwave society where they want things so quick and they're not willing to put it in a conventional oven and cook it for an hour. And that's true. A lot of people want things right now, and that's where fraud comes up. That's where scamming comes up. That's where all these things come from, because they want these get rich quick schemes instead of getting it honest. And we have to just be able to say, no, I want to wait, because good things come to people that wait. That's in the Bible, and I know you know that. So just be mindful about that. Take into consideration what you're doing. And again, You cannot get your blessings driving in someone else's lane. So hopefully these 3 points and topics was helpful. I pray that you take heed to it. Let me know how you feel. Let me know what you're doing to get out of the comparison mode, because I know that sometimes we all fall short and we compare ourselves to our friends and our family, and it's not a bad thing if you catch it right along, but if you let it continue to linger and you know about it, that's not good. You're going to end up losing friends, you're going to end up losing yourself, and you're going to end up losing blessings because you can't be genuinely happy and let go and live your own life. So I pray that you listen to this and you take heed and hit you dead smack in your heart. So I hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you for listening, gems. I really appreciate you, and keep shining as the gems you are. Bye.